Hello everyone, it's Maria here from Pebbly Rose Paper Crafting. I am an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Sydney, Australia. Thank you so much for joining me. My apologies for my croaky, disgusting voice. I'm so sorry, but I've been really unwell this past few days. Have a really bad chest infection. I'm on antibiotics at the moment and they seem to be working well. I don't feel like death, which is good, but the congestion is still there, so it's going to take a bit of time, but I feel a lot better. So that's the main thing, I think. So anyway, the catalogue has since gone live, and I'm going to be featuring a beautiful new stamp set called Leave a Little Sparkle. And this is one of the first things that I put on my list. I had a recent delivery of my stuff from the new catalogue, but I didn't get a lot. I'm just going to pace myself with these things, but this one was the first on my list, and I would love to create a card using this gorgeous stamp set. And I'm also going to be featuring the rectangle stitch dies as well. These are fabulous. I've used them on a lot of cards, so I'll be using them again today, and we'll just get started on this. First off, I'm going to be using a thick Whisper White card base. This is half an A4, and then I scored it in half again, but you can use whatever card base you wish. This is a very flexible design. Doesn't have to be very specific. So wherever you're from, just you know, cut your cardstock in half and then fold it in half again, and whatever card base you want you can use. I don't get hung up on measurements. I just don't, because I just think it just takes the fun out of things. Just go with what looks good for you. So that's my thick Whisper White card base. Then I've got a layering Whisper White, just regular Whisper White cardstock that will go over the top, and I'll be doing some ink blending. And then I've got a spare piece of just regular Whisper White cardstock. So with the panel, I'm going to grab my craft sheet, and I'm going to use my lovely makeup brushes. You can use sponges, whatever you wish. Actually, before I do any of that, sorry, I'm going to grab my Stamparatus. You can use whatever stamping tool you wish. I'm going to use my Stamparatus for this one. And with my, we don't need the foam, and with my Whisper White card base, scrap piece there, I'm just trying to think between which two I will use. And I think I'll use this image over here. This is just a beautiful image. So I'll be using that one. And I'm just going to stamp that right up there. Actually, I'm going to turn that around because I put my cling film there and I don't want to use that with this. Yeah. So I'll just stamp that. And I'll be using basic grey. I love basic grey. It's like my black almost. I use it on a lot of things. I love grey. So I love using the Stamparatus or any, you know, stamping tool you have, stamp positioning tool, because with images that have a lot of details, see, that didn't come up 100%, you can stamp over it again and get a lovely image, accurate image, which is what I like. Now the mane has a lot of detail in that, so this might be a slightly longer video, but you know, feel free to always fast forward through things if you find it a bit much, but good cards take time, I think. So anyway, I've just stamped that, so I'm going to leave it to dry for a little while and we'll get on with other things. So I'll take this off. I might leave it back on actually. I'll leave it. I might use it again and restamp it if I need to. Alrighty. So I'll pop that here. I'll grab my craft sheet and that layering piece of Whisper White cardstock. And the colours I'll be using today are Grapefruit Grove, Coastal Cabana, Pineapple Punch and Mango Melody. And I'm going to be using my trusty makeup brushes. I love these things. So good. So I'm just going to give it a quick wipe in case I didn't do a proper wipe the last time I used it. And I'll start off with Melon Mambo. And I'll just tap off quite a bit of the ink and just go like very lightly. Because it's such an intense colour and I just want a lighter shade of it. So that looks beautiful. Okay. Clean that up. I always wipe between colours and that way I don't cross-contaminate everything. That's my tip to you. So I'll just wipe off the Melon Mambo. It's quite an intense colour, so I don't want that to contaminate my other inks. Okay, the next colour I'm going to use is Grapefruit Grove. Tap off a bit of that too, and just go gently. And just do that gently. And just go over it. And I kind of blend into the other colour as well, so it kind of looks like it's blending into it seamlessly. Okay, so that's the Grapefruit Grove. Give that a bit of a wipe. Make sure I wipe off all of the colour. Okay, now I'm going to go into Pineapple Punch. This is quite a strong yellow, so I'd rather go in a little bit gentle than rushing it. And I have to say, using these makeup brushes has been a godsend with ink blending. They really do such a beautiful job, and it makes, you know, the ink blending really easy and seamless. If you can see, like, that's just beautiful. And this is with, you know, our normal Stampin' Up ink. Don't have to get fancy inks. Just make that colour pop a little bit more. So I just pick up stuff from my craft sheet and put it on. Excuse me. Alright, so get rid of that. Then I'll just wipe off the colour again. Okay. Now I'm going to go into my Coastal Cabana. I love this green. It's such a beautiful green. Okay, tap off a bit. Just go gentle. And you can make it also go into the yellow, so it looks like it's been blended in nicely. Oh, I just love this. So beautiful. rainbow colours. So I've finished with the ink blending. I think that turned out really beautiful. So I'm just going to wipe off my makeup brush. I'll show you in real time just so you get an idea of how long these things take, but it doesn't take very long in the whole scheme of things. Just wipe my craft sheet. Okay, so that's all clean. I'm going to leave it to dry. Take this away too. Alright, so what I'm going to do off camera is I'm going to grab some water and just wet my fingers. I'm going to splash this with some water and then I'll be back. Okay, so I've just got my hands a bit wet. I'm just going to splash that like that. And then I'm going to get my kitchen towel over the top and give it a rub, a pat down. And that leaves, I'll just wipe off the excess water there. And as you can see, I've got that beautiful effect there. Just love that. Okay, so that's done. So if we put that on the, my card base just fell down. But if we put that on the card base here, that is just stunning on white. Really beautiful, I love that. Okay, with this gorgeous image, what I'm going to do is use my watercolour pencils. As you're aware, I love my Faber-Castell Albrecht Dürer pencils. They're the same colours and the same amount as the Polychromos. The reason why I like these is because you can use them with a blender pen and a watercolour brush. You can blend them nicely and then you can seal them with, I'll just get this for you. You can seal it with the Distress Glaze microglaze from Tim Holtz. That will stop the pencils and even this from reacting with water again. So that's the way I seal it. I'll show you that another time, but for now I'm going to just colour in with my watercolour pencils. I am going to use similar colours to this. So what I will do with this is I will bring you closer and you'll watch me colour, and I'll speed it up a little bit, and then yeah, you can see that. So I'll just grab my first colour, which will be, interestingly enough, a light grey. It's kind of similar to Smoky Slate, but a shade lighter. So just grab my blender pen. Oops, come on. Oh, yeah, and you'll need a piece of paper, so just bear with me for 1 sec. I forgot to get some paper. Just some scrap paper that you need to scribble on. And I'm going to bring you closer. Okay, and enjoy. Okay, so I've just finished now colouring in my unicorn, so I'm going to bring that up the way it was before, and as you can see, it kind of goes well with the colours I've already blended it with, just a bit more intense. So with that image, I'm going to be using the rectangle stitch framelits. Just hold on one second. So sorry. I had a coughing fit just then, so I had to try and keep it together. I thought I'd leave the flowers white, but upon looking at it, I think it looks a bit boring. So what I'll do is I'll just add a little bit of yellow in between the flowers there. So I'll just use just a yellow there. And maybe I'll use a light orange. Just change up the colours a little bit. With a pink as well. And then I'm going to add, let me see now, some of that green that looks like Coastal Cabana. Might be a bit much, I don't know, but I think it looks alright. Just grab my blender pen and I'll just blend that out. Sorry, I have to get my thoughts together. Yeah, not thinking very well today, I've got to admit. But I love doing this because it helps to take my mind off things, you know. So, there we go. I think that turned out lovely anyway. So, I'm now going to get my rectangle stitched framelits, and I'm going to pick a size that I think is appropriate. It's a bit too wide, so I'll just go through and pick it. I think that's a good size. Let's see if I can go down even more. Okay, I think what I will do is use this one. I'll use this one. I think that's a good size. And I'm going to make this go shorter. So that's what I tend to do. I use these framelits and change the size, if that makes any sense. I just get the size that's closest to the gap I want between it all. Then I'm going to put some tape, painter's tape. I'm going to get my Big Shot or whatever die cutting machine you have, doesn't matter. And I'm going to go up to a certain point, which will be just here. So I'm going to make the plate go up to about there, and it will only cut through like that. Make sure it goes straight. Like that. Okay. I'm going to crank that through. So as you can see, just take that off. I only partially die cut it. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that off. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to get to the bottom of this, but I'll let it click in place, if that makes sense. And it clicks in place just about here actually. So what I'm going to do is die cut up to there. Up to about here, I think it was. Yeah. All right, crank that through. Okay, so now what I've done is I've changed the dimensions of it. And I made it like that instead of like that. Cool, right? So what I'll do now is I'll take all this away. I might bring it back in a minute. And I think this looks beautiful. I love this. So I'm going to put my unicorn image there. So I'm just going to glue that on the panel. Pretty simple card, but I love the colours. And how can you have a unicorn without rainbows, I reckon. So cute. And then with this image, I'm going to pop it up on some dimensionals. One more in the middle. Oops, I got some dimensional adhesive stuck on there. Take that off. That gets stuck underneath. And then I'm going to try to think about which sentiment, because these are really cute. It says, leave a little sparkle wherever you go, believe, make your dreams come true. I think I'm going to have leave a little sparkle wherever you go. I like that one. So I might pop that down here. And then this will go here like that. I think that'll look cute. Yeah. So I'll just grab my Stamparatus before I glue that down. I won't need that image anymore. To get that Stamparatus here in the corner. I'm going to pop this roughly around here. And what I like to do is I like to use the grid that's on the actual lid. You can't see it on camera, but I can see it here quite well. And I just line up the words along the grid so I know it's pretty straight. And I actually did a pretty good job of lining that up, just a tad more out of the way. Yeah. Alright, so I'm going to ink that up now in basic grey. And I'm going to add a magnet just to keep it in place from flapping up. Okay, so make sure it goes right there. And then bam. And I will ink that up again and just make sure that the ink's a little bit more intense. I wanted a slightly darker grey. And I think that turned out perfect, absolutely perfect. So I'll get rid of this. That looks fantastic, doesn't it? I love that effect. So take that off. And I'm going to put my Stamparatus away. And then we'll get cracking on finishing up this card. but I may also stamp on the inside. Just hang on a sec, I'll leave that out. Sorry, I'm just going with the flow here. Alright, so I'll just take off the backings now from the dimensionals. Alright. So I'm going to angle that up here. Make sure it's nice and straight. Yep. I didn't do it straight in the end, did I? This will drive me nuts if I don't do it properly. Yeah. Okay, so that's my card. Isn't that cute? So I will stamp the inside, I've decided. So I'm going to use this down here. Just make it come off the page a little bit there. And to stamp that, I thought it would be fun to use a different colour. So I thought I would use Melon Mambo. Make it look really girly. I'll just see how intense that is before I do anything. It's a little too intense. So I'll stamp that off. See how that looks stamped off. I think I'll do it in Coastal Cabana actually. It's a little too much pink. Stamp that in Coastal Cabana. And I think that will look lovely too. Oops, touched the ink, didn't I? Yeah, I'll use the Coastal Cabana. I'll make sure I got rid of all of the Melon Mambo off this. Pop this back in here. Get my magnet out again. Yeah, that looks great now. Oh, that came off now. Get some new painter's tape on that. Clean that up. And so that is my finished card for today. So I'll give you a close-up look. You can add Wink of Stella on here. I don't have Wink of Stella, and I'm a bit, you know, I need to get some two-way glue and add some glitter there, but I'll just leave it as is. But I really like that rainbow effect, and that looks lovely on the inside too in Coastal Cabana. Look at that, isn't that beautiful? I really love this card, very happy card, and this is the Leave a Little Sparkle stamp set. I'll just put all my little images back so I don't lose them, my stamps back in. Like a jigsaw puzzle. I like storing them on this, back in its original, you know, setup there. So that's a beautiful new stamp set called Leave a Little Sparkle. Really lovely for birthdays, thank yous, and also for just encouragement and support. These are wonderful, and I hope you enjoyed today's tutorial. If you have any questions, just feel free to leave a comment below, or you can use the Contact Me section through my online store, and you can, that way you can be emailing me directly at pepperlyrose.stampinup.net. These are available now for you to purchase. This is a beautiful unicorn set. I absolutely love it, and it won't be leaving my collection anytime soon. So everything you've seen here today, minus the makeup brushes, can be purchased through my online store as well. So Sorry about my voice, and sorry I'm a bit all over the place, but I hope you enjoyed today's tutorial. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you again next time. Bye!